transport. He's a Hamilton-based carrier. They have a couple divisions. They have a flatbed division. They have a tanker division, bulk tanker, and also a end division. So if you're looking to road around the Hamilton, Ontario area, they run about 500 to 700-mile radius out of that. They've got heavy loads. They've got tandem US. They've got all kinds of stuff going on. They're a motor operator all the way through, and they are really encouraging your success. They're not the kind of company that puts you on the road and they say, oh, we're taking half the pie. They make sure that you're successful because they know that if you're successful, they're successful. So give the team over there a call. You can learn more about them at rentstransport.com and make sure you tell them that we sent you because that's what we want to do. We want to send you there for sure. All right, so let's get on with what's going on with Frank Fletcher. So Frank's team reached out to me. Now, as you know, we've got Met Pedal Radio, so we get a lot of musicians that reach out to me. And Frank's team reached out to me and said, would you be interested in doing a show about him? Now, the reason that he was doing this, one of the reasons he was doing this, is he just released his new song, Cold, Dark, and Lonely, came out, I believe it was October 6th that it was coming out. He's got a whole bunch. He's got Rolling, Midnight Makes Me Crazy, Country Chrome, Let's Party Tonight, Something in the Whiskey, all right. Now, he reminds me of a Travis Tritt type of country star. He used to be hard rock, and now he's going to country. And he's a good fit, really nice guy. He's based out of Alabama, and we had a really good chat. And so I want you to hear that chat. Now, if you want to hear his music, we can't play his music here on the podcast, but if you want to hear his music, then check out our In the Studio show on Let Pedal Radio. Go to Let Pedal Radio, go to In the Studio, and on Mixcloud, and you can listen to it. And we've got the interview, but we've also got his music in there, so you can hear more and get a more feel for that. So In the Studio on Let Pedal Radio. But let's get on to the interview with Mr. Frank Fletcher, and you can learn more about him at Frank Fletcher Music. Here we go. All right, everybody on the line. I've got Frank Fletcher, who is a musician from, I believe, Alabama, right? Frank, is that where you're from?
Yes, sir. South Alabama, LA, baby. Lower Alabama.
Lower Alabama. I used to run down there all the time. Love that area. You're a country rocker from that area. Now, people are going, why is he on a trucking podcast? And we're going to get to that in a minute. Congratulations. You just released your song, right? Cold, Dark, and Lonely. Is that the one that just came out?
That's the latest single. Yes, sir. It came out the beginning of October.
How long have you been doing music, Frank? You know, from what I saw of you, and I've been through some of your photos and videos, and you've been doing this for a while. You got a style down. How long have you been doing music?
I played in my first bar, like my first adult gig, I guess. I played my first bar at 14 years old.
Okay.
But over the last 6 years, I've really pushed it as a career.
Okay. All right. What were you doing? What were you doing before that, if you don't mind me asking?
I actually grew up, my family owned a car garage in my hometown. So I grew up turning wrenches for my granddaddy. And I played on the weekends. It was music was a passion and a hobby. Yep. And we closed the shop down about 10 years ago. Okay. And so I decided to really push music, actually follow my dreams and see where it led. And so far, so good.
So good. Is this your first album? I've seen about 6-7 songs, and I always get mixed up now because I'm an old guy. I'm 60. We used to have actual albums, and you read the whole covers, and now you guys got EPs and all this. I'm just trying to keep up. So, how many songs have you got, or how many albums, or whatever you're calling them?
I think we have 9 originals out, like streaming now. Okay. We had an EP called the Country Chrome EP that we released. There's 5 songs on that. And then we're building this EP. We've already got all the songs out, but instead of releasing a full EP all at the same time right now, we're just releasing a single song at a time. Because like you said, it used to be you made a CD or an album and you sold the whole thing. Nowadays, with the way streaming is and Spotify and things like that, it actually works better just to do one song at a time for what I've seen so far.
Does it change the way you write? Do you write a lot of your own material, or you write all of it?
We do. I've at least been I've at least been a co-writer on every single song.
Okay.
So some of the songs are me, some of the songs are me and my guys. And then I also go to Nashville and co-write with some people up there too from time to time.
Okay. Because I would think the way that it's gone now, in the old days when you had an album, you were able to kind of theme that album. You could say, okay, these 10 songs or whatever fit together. Let's put them in there and have a theme to them. And I think that would be harder putting them out one. You kind of can't get that momentum going. Is that true when you're writing? Is it help at all or not help?
So this EP, like I said, we went ahead and recorded the EP together. It's just instead of releasing it all at once, we're just releasing one song. So we're actually really excited about all of this, like Cold, Dark, and Lonely. We released one in June called Rollin'.
Yeah.
There's one that we released about a year ago that was the first single off of it called Midnight Makes Me Crazy. But they all have a cohesive vibe and kind of, like you said, a theme. So we've kind of found our sound, our voice. And so the first EP was I was a rocker for years and switched over to country music. And so that first EP, I went to Nashville and co-wrote with a lot of really talented people, and I didn't know which way to go. So it's 5 songs on that first EP, but every song is a different type of country. You got like hard rock country, you've got like the beachy Kenny Chesney thing. You got I thought that would help me kind of find which way I needed to go, and it didn't. Well, you talked to these 100 people like this song, these 100 people like that song, these 100 people like that song. So I was like,
we like them all. But when I was looking at you, I don't know if this, hopefully this isn't an insult to you, but when I was watching your stuff, I was thinking Travis Tritt the whole time. Back in
I love Travis Tritt. That's a huge compliment.
No, that's what I was thinking. Like, there's certain people. I love everything from George Jones to I'm a big country guy. I'm a big classic rock is what I was into as well when I was a teenager. So, being a trucker, I've gotten into country but there's different styles within country, like you're just saying, right? There's those country rockers like Travis Tritt. I would consider that, and then there's George Strait, which is equally as talented and amazing, just on the other end of the spectrum, I think, with all the love songs, right? So,
right.
Yeah. Now, it looks like life on the road. You must be traveling a lot a bit. Are you on the road all the time? Is that where you are now?
Right now, it's kind of our slow season. Through the holidays, it kind of slows down just a little bit. So we're actually getting to spend quite a bit of time home right now. But we just got like August. I think we were on the road for like 6 weeks through August. We normally do 2 or 3 big runs a year where we're gone for, a month and a half, 2 months at a time. And then even our regional runs, I mean, we're still talking 5, sometimes 6 hours, radius. So we do spend a lot of time on the road. A lot of late nights driving.
Well, I was looking at some of your songs, and to look at just your titles of your songs, Country Chrome, Rollin', I would think, man, this guy's been spending a lot of time with truckers. I mean, that's all he's talking about is chrome. But then when you listen to the songs, it's Country Chrome is about a girl, right, or a woman, and Rollin'.
It's actually about a motorcycle.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking trucks when I started listening to it, and then I moved on to something else. So I'm thinking, he's talking about a girl he met on the road or something. So, so a motorcycle. Okay. So now, so is that a theme that did you guys purposely say we want to deal with the road, or is it just you've been on the road so much that that's where your inspiration's coming from?
It's just, especially Cold, Dark, and Lonely. Cold, Dark, and Lonely was actually we'd been on the road for a while, and I think it was about 3:30 in the morning, and the guys were asleep. I was driving. It was quiet. It was dark. It's kind of one of those rainy nights. Then I'd been driving for a while, and I kind of got in my feels, that homesick feeling of then I've had a lot of people tell me, as much time as we spend driving and them seeing me have to drive like the 40-foot bus with the trailer behind it and everything, they're like, man, you could be a trucker. Like, if this doesn't work out, like you should do long hauls.
There you
go. So Cold, Dark, and Lonely, that song, if you listen to the lyrics, I think it hits home with anybody that has to travel and stay on the road and be gone for work, whether it's a trucker, whether it's a musician, whether it's the military, but I know that the truckers understand what it feels like to be driving and driving.
Well, I know that's when you guys are passing us. I don't. If I look at all the times Kentucky Headhunters passed me in Indiana, that was at 4 a.m. Ricky Skaggs bus passed me in Knoxville. That was at 1 a.m. Like it's wherever they're going, right? It's usually that's when they're leaving wherever they're going and going to the next spot. So it's a popular time for them to. You'd be a lot more fun in the bus than in some of the trucks. Although we have some nice trucks out there. So do you find the road glamorous or do you find it drudgery? Some people like the road, like it pumps them up, and the Taylor Swifts of the world are out there doing it as much as they can, and then it almost sounds bad. I mean, the way you just explained it, right? So, well, I
mean, we're in this lovely in between bubble where we're, we've kind of exceeded a regional act, but we're not quite considered a national act.
Sure.
In the pay bracket and the way they're treated and just the thing like Taylor Swift has a driver. She's in the back of the bus hanging. She's not having to drive her own bus.
Right.
I'm still having to drive the bus. You know what I mean? Loading in and loading out. Like we still do some of our bigger shows. Yes, we do have some roadies and some guitar techs and things like that for some bigger stuff, but 9 times out of 10 we're loading in our own gear. We're loading out our own gear. We're packing the trailer. Then we're driving. So, glamorous, no. Exciting, adventure, yes. We love playing new venues. We love meeting new people. We love getting our music and our show out to people that haven't seen us before. So that's the exciting part of it.
Yeah, so the shows keep you going. It's like trucking, it's cool seeing everything, but man, yeah, waiting at docks, waiting at the border, all that kind of stuff that is terrible about the job goes with it. You kind of got to do both, right? So it's I'm always interested. I ask this to everybody, Frank, so don't feel your writing process. I am fascinated. I am not a musician by any means. I used to play drums in high school for, I think, 2 years and thought you had to read music. So I gave it up and find out all my musician friends don't know how to read music. So I should have kept going. But I always am interested to people who are writing their own material and go, what is your process? Now I'm a cartoonist as well. So I am an artist and a creative. And for me, it's, coming up with a title, coming up with a tagline. When you're starting your songs, how do you start? Do you start with a melody? Do you start with the words? How do you start your process?
Honestly, depends on the song. There's songs that I've written because I was sitting around playing guitar and I came up with a cool riff and I wrote around that riff. There's songs that I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning, and jotted some lyrics down on a piece of paper, and then woke up the next day and sat down and wrote. And then there's also times where you sit down and you have like a writing session with people, and somebody might have one, like you said, like one line or like a title. Like we have this idea, and then it's almost like it's writing a story. It's like writing a movie around the idea. So I guess it would be like a concept song.
Yeah.
So it just depends. And I have found that the harder songs for me to write are the happy party songs. It's really easy for me to get in my feels and write like an emotional song that just comes out of my feelings. It's the upbeat. It's like the song Rollin' that we released. Like it was like a party summertime song.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have much emotion or feeling behind it. It's true to life. It was, it was about how we used to party, South Alabama is riding dirt roads and jacked up trucks and drinking and it's true to life, but those lyrics, those types of songs are harder for me because they're less emotional. So the emotional songs kind of pour out, you start jotting down feelings and it just pours out and then you're like, oh.
Yeah. Do you find when you're writing those emotional songs, do you have to kind of, I guess, not censor yourself, but at the end of the day, everybody knows your life. If they know that that's a song that you wrote and it's true to yourself, they're going, man, this guy, it's like Taylor Swift. Don't date Taylor Swift because, you might be a song down the road, right? So do you get that way? I mean, it is possible to put too much out there. Do you have to worry about that when you're writing, or do you just let it come out and go, you know what, we'll change the name and it's Bill, or something like that, right?
It depends on how deep I'm going. And yeah, there are times that, from a marketing standpoint or a radio play standpoint that we might flip the meaning or, twist it. You start on this storyline, but then you're like, oh, wait, I'm writing a song. So this is for the public. So you start on this storyline, but then you find a way of flipping it. So, it still makes sense in the story, but it takes it away from, but you can still put your thought process in it. You just flip the perception of the song.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds good. I ask that to everybody because I'm always, and I tell you, most of the answer is, I don't know. It just happens. And I go, you're not helping me. So I keep trying to ask. I don't know if I'm finding out for myself. I'm not trying to write a song, but maybe I'm just trying to figure out how. I know everybody's got a creative mind of doing that. And so now you've been in the studio recording. Is that your first time working in the studios, or you've been in a studio before? Or?
No, like I said, we've already released that first EP. And I've been in and out of the studio, off and on my whole career. Like I said, the biggest thing about this project is most of the songs on this one, me, my drummer, and my guitar player all co-wrote together. And like I said, we had some co-writers on a couple of songs that helped on this EP, but we're really excited about having that cohesive sound and vibe.
Right.
So that's what makes this one special.
Do you like being in the studio, or you prefer to be out on stage? Some people get more creative in the studio. I know a couple of artists that I interviewed not too long ago. They were saying, the first time they went in with all the songs written and, here's how we're going to do it, guys, and just play it out and get it down. And then the second time they went in, because they were with some seasoned musicians, they were like, all right, you try a chord and I'll try a chord and we'll see how it works out. What have you found in your time in the studios there? What works best for you?
The studio stuff's fun and it's cool to see. We use a lot of studio musicians because we travel as a 4-piece band.
Right. Okay.
And if you listen to the songs, the radio treatment, the production value for the radio and stuff, I mean, we've got 12 or 15 musicians on those songs. Right. So, it's cool. It's cool to see how talented these full-time studio musicians are, where they can look at a chart, listen to 30 seconds of the song, ask the producer what vibe, and then I think the last time we were in Omni Studio in Nashville, the musicians in there recorded 3 of my songs in 40 minutes.
Time is money.
3 songs in 40 minutes. It was insane. Like, the amount of talent, and they were all playing at the same time. They had never heard the song. They heard like 30 seconds of like an acoustic version of it, looked at the charts, the producer had everything charted out. And there's, 13 musicians all in their little rooms of the studio, counted it off and played it once through. And then like the guitar player might be like, hey, punch me in on this measure. I didn't like this part of the solo. And he'd recut like 2 measures of a solo and be like, okay, I'm good.
Does that make that hard for you when you get out on tour and you have to try and replicate that on stage and go, there's 4 of us, there's 15 when we did this,
It does. Some of our bigger shows, we've talked about hiring in, certain key musicians to try to recapture that sound. Yeah. And then there's times where, my guitar player will look at me and he's like, most of this was done on a piano. Like, guess I'm going to try to play the piano parts on the guitar. Here we go.
Yeah. It sounds like fun. It sounds like fun anyway. And good to see that there. I want to learn more about your band. They have an interesting name. Is it the Tequila Band or something? Tell us about your band. So with you regularly.
So we just go by Frank Fletcher now. Everything is Frank Fletcher. That lineup, my current drummer was still in that band. But other than that, I have a new bass player and a new guitar player. But Tequila Bend actually was, we were all rockers and we started a country band. And there's this big honky tonk in Dothan, Alabama called Cowboys of Dothan. And I went to the owner of the bar and I said, hey, we're putting together like a country band and it's some of the best musicians from a few different bands. And we just want to play country music just to book here.
Yep.
At the time, Cowboys of Dothan was like the biggest venue in the area. Okay. All of the country greats have played there over the years. And all these rockers, they were like, look, I'll do a country project with you, but we'll only do it if you're guaranteeing us that we get to play Cowboys. So on that meeting, I told him who all was going to be in the band and what all we could do and what all. We'd never practiced. We didn't even all the guys were in as long as we could play Cowboys. And he was like, all right, well, I'll give y'all a shot. So here's your first date 3 weeks from now. So then I had to call all the guys. I'm like, hey, we got a show in 3 weeks. We had to put together a whole country set list. Wow. But the name of the band, I told the owner, I said, look, we're just playing here, that's what's going to get us started. So I'd send him a band name and he'd be like, I don't like that one. So I kind of let the bar help pick it. And that was Tequila Bend was like our spinoff of Whiskey Bent. Tequila Bend's Whiskey Bent. And that was the first band name that he was like, I like that one. So I was like, sold.
Sounds good to me. And with songs like Let's Party Tonight and all of that, I'm thinking, okay, these guys have it down. They already got their list going. They know what's going on, right? So tell us about Midnight Makes Me Crazy. Tell me about this song here. So
Midnight Makes Me Crazy was the first single off of this new EP where we were really finally starting to find our vibe. And actually, I told you that we've got a co-writer that helps us, on some of the songs. Sure. He was actually the bass player in Tequila Bend. His name's Dennis Powell. And so he was one of the co-writers on Midnight Makes Me Crazy, the main writer on that one. And it's one of those breakup songs where, I think everybody's been through a breakup where during the day, you can stay busy. You can keep your mind occupied. Everything's fine. You feel like you're okay. And then, it gets nighttime and everything slows down. And then you're sitting there and you're getting your feels. And now with today's social media, it's really easy to start trying to stalk, Facebook pages and Instagram and scrolling through and trying to check their timelines. And so that's what that song's about. It's a breakup, it's a breakup song.
So we should come see you. And once we're through that, we got to come and party tonight. And I got to tell us what your stage show's like. I mean, from what I've seen, it looks like it's a ton of fun. You seem to have that energy. Like I said, just the photos alone tell a lot of the story, right? Like you're not one of those guys that are like this and standing still. And from what I've seen, you're pretty.
So like I said, I was a rocker for years. So we bring a high energy, crowd interactive kind of rock style show to country music. So, and of course it depends on the venue. We try to tailor each show for the venue, and all of my guys have been playing music for so long and been in so many different styles of bands where if we're playing a true honky tonk, we'll play Waylon Jennings and like you said, George Strait and put our country, originals in there and do all those old school standard covers. If we're playing someplace like Panama City Beach, Florida, you might hear Waylon Jennings, you might hear Rage Against the Machine, you might hear us do Britney Spears or Afro Man, or we're all over the place. But I tell everybody I have a really talented band and I'm just a dancing chicken. Like they make everything sound good, and I'm running around the bar, I'm climbing on tables and chairs, I'm bringing people up on stage. Like we try to make everybody have a good time.
Right, right. Who is your inspiration on the rock side? Because I can, I'm a big Garth Brooks fan. And, you can tell Garth was a Kiss fan if just some of the stuff they do. Because I used to see Kiss concerts. Who is your show kind of patterned or inspired by somebody like that? Who was your inspiration when you were rocking? Because it comes out.
I was a '90s alt rock kid, right. So. Now I did listen to a lot of classic rock and blues and country and stuff. So I have a lot of my music taste is very eclectic. So It's all over the map. But '90s alt rock stuff, I mean, you had like Stained, in my opinion, Aaron Lewis has switched over to country. He's doing country shows, but in my opinion, Aaron Lewis is probably one of the best male vocalists of my generation.
Right.
So he was always a big one, and I actually got to hang out with him in Nashville. It's been about a year or so ago, but he was playing a writers round on like a Tuesday night at like the Live Oak, and somebody was like, Aaron Lewis is playing over there, and I was like, on a Tuesday? No. Sure as heck, I walked over there, and Trent Tomlinson and Bobby Pinson and Aaron Lewis were all three sitting on stage.
Wow. Yeah. That's what I love about Nashville. My wife and I go there all the time. And, she goes, wow, these guys are so good. Why are they playing in this empty bar or cafe or whatever? And I go, these are all the top guys. They're just checking out new material or practicing or keeping their, whatever going. Right. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see for sure that do that. So, so where I noticed you had some concerts. I'm not sure by the time this come out, you're getting into your slow time. Where should people go to see you? Where's it good? Do you guys have a general route? Or I know some of my trucking musicians, they play all the truck shows, let's say. So people like Tony Justice and stuff. Where would people go to see you normally once you're up on a tour?
We're really big because we're so close to Florida. Okay. So our main stomping ground is like the Florida Panhandle, all the beaches, especially during season. If it's warm, if it's spring break through, the end of summer, Gulf Shores, Alabama, all the way over to like Apalachicola, Panama City, Destin, Fort Walton. We play that area a lot. South Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana. But then we do a lot of runs up to like Wisconsin and Minnesota. We spend a lot of time in South Dakota, Deadwood, South Dakota, and then Sturgis. We play Sturgis Bike Rally every year. Okay. We're big on the biker scene. We play a lot of bike rallies. So like Thunder Beach in Panama City. We played Laconia this past year in New Hampshire, Sturgis. So, but it sounds like I need to be getting into some trucker shows.
Yeah, well, and we've got up here. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's we have a town. It's a small beach town called Port Dover, and every Friday the 13th, every person who even thinks about motorcycles has to go to this town. And they do it in the middle of winter too, the poor guys. Some of them bring pickup trucks, but like we just had it last weekend. So every Friday the 13th. Everybody in Ontario goes to this one town and it's every biker. They close the town. It's only bikes allowed, and they do it so I don't know when the next Friday the 13th is, but you may want to plan for that if you're into the bike. Probably see most of your friends from Sturgis or wherever. Right.
All right.
That's very cool. Well, listen, tell us where we should go and get the album. Where do people, is it even called an album? Am I just showing my age by even saying that? Probably, but where do we go to get your music?
So anything, I'm on all the streaming platforms that are out there, but anything online is Frank Fletcher Music, or you can just go straight to our website, which is frankfletchermusic.com.
Okay. And I've got your songs there, and they're great. They're great. The ones that keep writing, man. We need more.
Thank you.
Start playing them on Lead Pedal Radio. And tell us, I always like to give somebody, in case I've got a lot of young musicians that are in the area here, and they're always listening to this kind of stuff. What's a tip you'd give to a young musician? Is there, you keep hearing, you can't make any money in you hear about everything, but you can't make any money in music, and you got to have some private deals, and we see all kinds of people making, but musicians keep going. They keep trying to whether you make money or not, it's kind of it's inside you. It's not just about the money, right? So, any tips for young musicians that you'd like to share, or people coming up behind you that you found good way to try something?
Three biggest things. Number one, don't take yourself too serious.
Yeah, it works.
I used to have horrible stage fright, and I was terrified to make a mistake. And it took me, I finally started sitting down and watching videos of people I idolized. I was a huge Elvis fan.
Yep.
Elvis was huge, Yep. In his, the 1968 comeback special, when he's in the all black leather, he's playing one of the songs and forgets the lyrics. And they just keep playing, and he starts talking to the crowd. He's like, "Oh, you know the words? You know the words? You want to sing it?" And then back then, a lot of the songs were all in the same key. So after he kind of messed around with the crowd and made a joke about it, he just picked up and went into another song. I've seen like Bret Michaels from Poison do the same thing. Like he'll start talking to the crowd when he messes up, and then get back on track, and his band is just following him. So it's not if you mess up, it's when you mess up. And it's not how bad you mess up, it's how you play it off. So don't take yourself too serious. Stay humble. There's always going to be somebody that's bigger or better or badder or has more going than you. And honestly, the industry people don't want to work with people that are conceited, so. And then also the number 3 thing, which to me was the most important part of my career, and it's still a slow process gaining momentum and climbing the ladder. But what has gotten us our success is we play like 200, 230 shows a year. So I am trying to get out in front of as many people as I possibly can at all times. But, just play shows. The more you're on stage, the more comfortable you'll be on stage.
Do you find a lot of the artists nowadays are worried more about the social media and, making this latest reel or whatever, instead of just getting out there and doing what you do? That's what I see. I don't know if that's right or not.
That's actually that's what's holding me back in my career right now, honestly, is my numbers on social media aren't high enough. So if anybody's watching this, do me a favor, Frank Fletcher Music, just go hit the like button. It would help us a lot. But like you were talking about being old school, I'm old school. I didn't even have Facebook until I started trying to do this as a full-time career.
Right.
And it was because a lot of the venues, like I would drive to the venue, go to meet the manager, shake his hand, book, face to face. And he'd be like, "Oh, just message me on Facebook Messenger." That's how we do our booking now.
Yeah. You have to adapt, right? You have to adapt.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's huge, there's people that have made it huge just off of TikTok. They become a TikTok star, and now they're out touring. So if it works, it works. I'm just I'm old school mindset as well.
Yeah, but if you if you do just do the social media, or you're really hot on the social media, like anything, we see the positive of a lot of people's lives there. You can't just do that one song. When you get to the show, when I come to the show after I saw your reel, you have to be able to back it up, right? You have to be able to put on that whole show and keep me interested for the whole time. So I think, like you say, you have to have both of them, right? Or you can't have one or the other. It's got to be both. So Frank, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. All the best with your music. I think it's fascinating what you're doing. And check out some truck shows. There's a ton of them, man. You can crisscross the country. They all ended.
I'll start looking them up. We can do one bike rally, one truck show, one bike rally, one truck show.
What's interesting is, our colors here are orange and black. That was done by design because bikers and truckers are usually the same people. So you may see,
I agree.
So, Harley Davidson colors work with anything, right? Because it's the same audience. So that's one of the reasons we went with orange. So, it's great. All the best with your new music. Keep us informed. Let us know when you got more stuff coming out, and happy to have you back on the show and show us what you do.
I'd love to be back. So thank you for having me.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. But their main office is in Mississauga, Ontario. Now, we have over 50 locations, 800 employees. They've been around 50 years. That doesn't FletcherMusic.com. Like I said, if you want to hear the interview with his music, it's a lot more of a fun stage there. And check him out over at In Studio on Little Radio. Also, check him out on wherever you're traveling. You're traveling down there. Him and his band play all over the place. So check him out at a concert, because, man, from what I've seen, this is the place to be there. What a great Christmas present. Why invite somebody cold back and older as a cousin? Hey, let's send him a song. Hey, isn't that the cheapest present you can get? $3? Anyway, you can contact Frank. Find him on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. You can find him in all these places. And you can shop for his merchandise on his website, which is FrankFletcherMusic.com. He's got some hoodies and cups and the rest of the stuff there. And check that out. Check out his music. Check it out. Just go to FrankFletcherMusic.com. Tell him I sent you. All right, hey, you know where to follow us, so you're following Frank, well, may as well follow us. We're also on all those platforms like Facebook, Instagram,